KJ, late night WEEI. I'm still on this Belichick thing because you really can see that Belichick really, really doesn't care what you or I think or even the press thinks, which has been successful. But this is the first time where there's been a coaching deficiency on the staff that Bill can't necessarily cover, right? If it was defense, we're good, right? If it was the defensive coordinator, who cares? They'd have to answer to Bill. But Bill's not running offenses. So Phil Perry asked Belichick today about the Patricia and Joe Judge stuff when it comes to play calling. Listen to Bill's response or lack thereof.
I don't have that cut yet, KJ. Stand by.
Yeah. So, again, this goes into the narrative of, hey, look, it's been cool when you've been winning in the very little small words. Yeah, you showed a little personality wearing the Celtics hat today. But at the end of the day, any other team in the league, you say, we don't know who the offensive coordinator is. Like, even if it was the Chiefs, you would say, okay, if Eric Bieniemy left, then okay, Andy Reid's going to call the plays. He's an offensive guy. But that's not the case here. And the quarterback's brand new. And there's no big-time weapons here. Who's going to help out? All right, Josh, you got that cut?
I do. You ready for it?
Yeah, go ahead and play that cut from Phil Perry.
All right, here we go.
Have those jobs been specified for Joe and Matt in particular? They told us that, Joe's been working with the quarterbacks and Matt a little bit with the offensive line, but those guys have titles.
Yes. We have titles. Yeah, look, there's a lot of jobs that we have to do. We're all working on those things now. It's May. They'll change in June, they'll change in August, they'll change in September. We're all to do the things timely that we need to do. And if you're asking about game plans, we're months away from that. Months.
Maybe not game plans, but how about like the one role that we asked those two guys about was the play caller role. Is that one
Months away.
from having a play caller?
So what plays are we calling?
Well,
Then you can't play.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. We're going to coach the team, coach the players. We're going to get them ready to go. We're going to game plan. We have to game plan for play call. Do all the things that we need to do and compete in games right now. We're months away from that.
Yeah. The generic answers to a specific problem are not going to fly anymore. There's no Tom Brady who can cover a massive sins. Think about it. The 10 days that Antonio Brown was here, do you realize how much was going on, but yet wasn't going on at the same time just because of one guy, not named Bill? I mean, for God's sakes, this is when we discovered that Tom Brady was willing to have Antonio Brown live in his house, and that was the first time. Vegas had even said, hey, the Chiefs are not the team to bet on. It's now the Patriots, just because of Antonio Brown and Tom Brady and the one weapon. It's almost the theme like, if you can't just grant one simple wish to someone who's been super loyal to you forever, how much are you going to have to pay out in pain and suffering just because of one simple wish that you couldn't pull off? As Tom now smiles and giggles and still in the league. Look, I'll get on Tom when I get on Tom. Sometimes I think he's kind of jumping the shark with some of the publicity stuff. I deal him out equally. I'm not one of those wrestlers that's like either a good guy, bad guy. I'm like Stone Cold, right? I'll jump you if you're good. I'll jump you if you're bad. It doesn't matter because Stone Cold said so. But my goodness, think about how much money would be saved, the players that would be here, if Tom was still playing on a 2-year deal for $50 million total. Kirk Cousins is getting like 42 for 1 year. If you just take care of the small things of things that have taken care of you early on, you will not have people 2 years later asking you, so is it going to be the head coach of the 31st offense ranked for 2 years as they were head coach, or the guy who was the head coach of the Lions? And who's going to be the offensive coordinator with a second-year quarterback and a tougher schedule? 617-779-7937, text line 37937. KJ Late Night, WEEI. Celtics up by 23, 73-50. We're going to 1 a.m. here, so that way as the game rolls out, we can get your thoughts on what it looks like going towards Game 5. But still, until like we're like 75% to the fourth quarter, will I declare a winner? So sometimes when the Celtics play a game in the fourth quarter, it feels like election night. Like, hey, don't go to sleep. Back to Belichick. So Mac Jones, who's now seeming like the adult in the entire room, right? This is the second-year guy who seems like the wily veteran who's been with the team for 10 years, is talking about what is he focusing on right now?
I think right now it's all about learning, and first day you come out and you set a baseline, fix the things that you want to fix. And like I said, they all have great knowledge of our offense and we're all on the same page. So that's the important part to me. There's no fall off or anything like that. And it's not my decision to make, and we have plenty of time for all that. So right now it's about the guys, and I getting on the same page, running backs, tight ends, receivers, and then working with the offensive line, doing some things with them just to make sure we're on the same page. So it always goes back to the players, and we're excited to, grow together and learn from, whoever's coaching us. We don't mind anybody.
I wonder how Mac will sound once, like they say, when heartache hits. Because last year was a successful season for Mac Jones, more than some could imagine. A game better than my biggest expectation. I was like, you know what? The team will probably be 9-8, and that would be such an improvement considering what it was with the year before with Cam Newton and the ball not getting past the line of scrimmage being thrown. It was literally Newt Rockney football the year before Mac Jones got here. But I think people just want to be able to see that, okay, there's clearly going to be growth, and there's still room for it. Don't get me wrong. But who's the sensei? Who's the teacher? Who's the master? Who's the one that you hit the gong after they make a brilliant statement about offensive strategy? Joe Judge? Gong. No. And then it got better today. First, let's talk about Mac's latest weapon, Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker brought in because he was really the odd man out in Miami, even though he really hasn't been the man who's been in through injuries. Now supposed to be the number one wide receiver in the room. I still think you have to beat Kendrick Bourne to prove that you're the man to beat the man. And here's Mac on Devontae Parker.
I've been very pleased with everybody, and they have a tight group once again. Devontae's done a great job coming in, working in a new system. He has some familiarity, with the Dolphins and all that, but we're happy to have him, and anybody that can contribute to our team, we're ready to go. So it's a good group, and we just have to keep elevating each other and push each other and compete. Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
You know what that really thanks, guys, was? Because you know what the next question might have been?
What?
How do you feel about Devontae Parker taking the number 11? Yes, this year, your New England Patriots will have someone else in a number 11 jersey, Devontae Parker, and Matt Skoll, number 87.
It's going to be interesting, KJ.
No, here's the point. Bill D.N.G.A.F. does not. Yes. D.N.G.A.F. Bill D.N.G.A.F. If you know acronyms.
I do.
Literally, Bill is signaling in the strongest of possible ways that the exit plan is in motion. I'm wondering now if it's even about Shula's record, right? Because the truth of the matter is, the real thing that Shula is going to be able to hold on to is the undefeated season. That's really it. So, yeah, the most wins and stuff like that. I mean, for God's sakes, Belichick could be 3 short, and I think he'll be just as happy. I don't think there's anything burning desire in his soul that says, I got to stick through this until I get Shula's record, because it's not close, and it almost kind of matches up to right about when Mac Jones will be in his option year or potentially you would have to give him his new deal. And you know the first thing that's going to be asked of Bill. Was it easy, or is it easy to give Mac Jones $40 million a year when you couldn't give Tom $50 for 2 years? Is that really going to be the last paragraph for Belichick? Or do you start kind of, slowly igniting fires to different points on the bridge on the way out? And one of those ignition points are there's no offensive coordinator. And the only two guys who are sniffing that job is a special teams guy and a defensive guy. Unbelievable. So as you wear your Edelman jerseys, which are now throwbacks, hey, maybe you can get them a discount now. That's how it is. The Cam Newton jersey went way down in price once, N'Keal Harry took the jersey, and then it went down even further. It was like a bad crypto stock.
I am a victim of the Cam Newton jersey, unfortunately.
It was good, You get a nice, healthy one that's sewn in for $15. I think that's what I got mine for. Brand new. But yes, your Edelman jerseys are now kind of secondary. Your Gronk jerseys are kind of now secondary. There's another guy running around with those numbers on. I've even joked that, look, if Aaron Rodgers said, I want to go to New England, finish my career, Bill would give him 12. It won't blink an eye. What's a number? It's just a number. Still have to perform in the number. You have to execute and steady the game plan. Bill D.N.G.A.F. And some of it is kind of funny, a bit entertaining because you see it from a mile away. I've been that guy who's kind of been like, you know what? This job is over. They know it. I know it. How enjoyable can I make it on the way out? And your boss is straight up told the public at the winter meetings, I am not happy with our results in the last 3 years. What happened 3 years ago? Some guy it was last game here 3 years ago. What was that? As my daughter likes to tap. What's that guy's name again? The guy that went over his immediate boss's head to the boss to make something happen. Celtics up by 24 early in the fourth quarter. So fingers crossed that there's not a 43-20 fourth quarter. But, all things are going, good gracious, the Heat only have 54 points after 3 quarters. That's absolutely crazy. And Belichick is checked out. Josh, I'm going to call for a cut that I've noticed here.
Okay, what do you got for me?
Can you play the cut where Tommy Curran asks about Josh McDaniels? It's cut number 3 that he asks of Belichick. I want to hear this one.
Yeah, give me like 10 seconds and I'll find out for you.
So let me set it up for you. I've said that the reason why Josh McDaniels seemed to have the yips about the Colts job and why it seemed like other teams weren't really rushing to hire him is because there may have been some kind of discussion of maybe Josh being the heir apparent when Bill steps away. But then I thought about it. I said, well, wait a minute. If Bill steps away, he may just step into the GM role. And if his sons are on the staff, do the sons ascend quicker to the throne than say, watch Game of Thrones, watch any show. Watch The Sopranos, right? Like, hey, I want my kid to lead this, but they're maybe not there to do that yet. So here's Tommy Curran asking about Josh McDaniels' job duties over the last 15 years.
Did Josh kind of do almost all of it? That would be overstated.
Yeah, here we are. It's like Josh was here for, 15 years. Which game do you want to talk about? Which year are we talking about here?
The last 7 games of 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Belichick just say, yes, he pretty much was an employee here for the last 15 years? Or we know it. You almost feel like Belichick never thought McDaniels would leave. And sometimes when you put the carrot in front of the horse or the goat or whatever the thing that is, I think it's a goat, that as long as you keep chasing the carrot and believe that that's going to be them, this could be us, Josh.
Yeah.
You're getting some type of service, which is offensive coordinator. But remember the Buffalo game when Buffalo didn't punt and the players said, hey, we tried everything. And you're like, wait a minute. Well, special teams isn't in it, so that's a defensive problem. And who was pretty much the face of the defensive play calling last year? That's a problem. But yet this person could be the one who ascends to the head coaching position if Bill makes that move. Now, if he makes that move, and because it's almost like, are we getting to the point of daring Kraft to get rid of Belichick if there are 2 more or 3 more sub-seasons? Because this year is 6-11. I mean, you're going to have to pretty much, I mean, I'm not really going to do this, but this is just hypothetical. This is the imaginary portion. I'd be willing to pay like everybody's student loans if the Patriots end up with a winning record this year. 6-11 is my number, which would be 1 game less technically than the Cam Newton year. So it's like Cam Newton year, which everybody screams so loud from the hilltops. Oh, they scream. You screamed. You remember? Remember? Can we have that same energy if you see 6-11 this year? Week 1 against Miami, which used to be kind of the even when Richard Seymour came last year, they're the Jets, Miami. These were teams that you were like kind of like, hey, this is when you invite people to the cookout to hang out because you know what's going to happen. 2 losses to Miami last year. Jets have gotten interestingly better this year. And if the Jets win 1 of 2 games, oh yeah, break glass in case of emergency because there's a fire with the Patriots. But, as Bill is slowly moving his pieces, I've probably told you this story before. In this industry, you kind of want to have a batting average where you've left on your own more than they've asked you to. And sometimes when they ask you to, it's nothing. It's something beyond your control. But sometimes you could feel it in the air like the Phil Collins song, right? So there's one place I kept a lot of stuff like underneath in a file cabinet, like hard drives and files, or like a lot of paperwork, right? Then I started saying, you know what, KJ, you can't come up here on a Saturday and start cleaning this stuff out because that'd be a dead giveaway. So indiscriminately, I'd come in with a Red Sox book bag and a Houston Astros book bag. So you have to figure out, was it in Houston and Boston what's happened, right? And just slowly, piece by piece, day by day, take stuff out of the file cabinet, but kept the stuff on the top of the desk. Follow me with Bill, because this is what Bill's kind of doing. He's cleaning out the file cabinets underneath our noses. So by time it came for me to get the proverbial small box to fit all my stuff, which was supposed to be an embarrassment, it's like, oh my gosh, I got all the stuff in the file cabinet and everything like that, because they knew I kept stuff in there. I just swept my arm once, had more room in the box than I did items in the box. They're like, that's all? I was like, that's it. I knew it was coming. They're like, how did you know? I said, I didn't hire an offensive coordinator. I'm totally kidding. But my goodness. My goodness. Does Mac Jones deserve that? Just think of how the layers have been unpeeled of the fan base being understanding. Remember the first screams? You got to get Mac a weapon. He needs a wide receiver 1. You didn't get that. First round, you got an offensive tackle from Ooltewah, Tennessee. Not even at you. I mean, it's at UT Chattanooga, but the practice facilities might be in Ooltewah as your first rounder. Then you got a receiver in the second round. They were like, this guy may have a hands problem. But then you're like, okay, in Bill we trust, right? These things don't scratch off the quarter. No offensive coordinator named. It might be Joe Judge. It could be Matt Patricia. Huh? No new blood? The same Joe Judge on 3rd and 8 from the -1? Runs the ball? Like, we're not going to try for a first down? I mean, if you what? Quarterback sneak? I know Canadian rules have something different, but this is not Canadian football. It's just kind of a bit embarrassing, but entertaining. And I just want to know if, Belichick has got like a Cleveland Browns book bag for one set of stuff and like a New York Giants bag for another set of stuff. And never is Bill there on a Monday. It's KJ Late Night, 617-779-7937. We're getting close to the end of this game between the Celtics and the Heat. Celtics up by 31. Hang out. We'll talk name, image, likeness next here on WEEI.
It's time to